Hello everybody. I was making a video, and part of getting older is realizing that sometimes you don't realize how old things are. So, I'm going to introduce Ogre Battle. It says it's episode 5, but it's not. This is actually the very first of the Ogre line, which is fairly influential but also fairly low key. We don't We don't talk about it too much nowadays, other than, sorry, I was giving some time for you to watch that intro there. Beyond, mostly it's remembered now for Tactics Ogre, the re-release that has come out. But this was the very first game, and it does eventually lead into Final Fantasy's Eve-releases. Very political, very heavy-handed, but the reason why I like this game is just how well integrated the morality is to the actual gameplay, in that you don't even know that it's happening. Some of the later lines, especially Ogre Battle 64, followed up with that concept, but made it a little bit more apparent. You might also know this game as a huge inspiration for Unicorn Overlord if you've played that. And you'll see why once we actually get into the gameplay. At the start of every game, we talk with Warren here. He does a fortune reading to give us some cards to shape our character, who we will name after the channel. Fade out and breathe. Boy or girl, boy or girl. Well, sorry, this is actually my second recording because my clicks on my controller were a little bit too loud. So, anyway, he's going to ask us these questions. A demon I have called forth has demanded my most valued possession instead of granting my wish. What does it demand? My money, my life, or my family? So basically, you can answer evil, you can answer really, really good, or somewhere in between. There's a slightly evil, a slightly good, and a really neutral option of opinion leader. You can get one of 5. So naturally, saying that my money is my most important thing is going to be the evilest thing that you can say in that choice. What do you think is the most important thing to remember when walking the path of the warrior? Sorry, I'm readjusting to make sure that my controller is far enough away, specifically because I don't want to have to re-record this. So, and I have actually forgotten what they asked for. Glory? That was probably a selfish choice, not an evil choice. What do you think is the most important trait which must be found in a successful king? Do I think it's action? Do I think it's leadership or conquest? Of course, it's going to be conquering others. You're standing in front of a mirror which shows your best trait. What is my best trait? My physical strength, my mental strength, or my moral strength? I mean, it's actually my cheekbones are amazing, but regardless, physical strength it is. Fool card. You want to be sure that your knights abstain from disgraceful behavior. What do you warn them most about? Sorry, this is a really awkward position to play in. Do I warn them to obey the laws, not to make empty promises, or be kind to everyone? We're going to tell them to obey the law because in my kingdom, my laws are paramount, regardless of their morality or their ethics. The star card. A night before battle, you see several falling stars headed toward the east. What do we wish for? I wish for luck. I mean, I wish for victory, of course. And then random card that will be put into our deck. I don't know if this random card has any impact. Okay, so now we're going to start the actual game, and at this point there's only 4 screens to the game. There's this screen here, which is our world map, right now we only have one stage available to go into. But as we progress, we'll get more stages. Looking at my unit, it looks like I did indeed get the most evil. You can tell because of my attacks are named Death Cloud and Phantom. Also, you can tell just from I knew I had evil because my other character standing next to me was the wizard. If it would have been a cleric, then I would have had a high alignment, good aligned character. If it would have been a Beastmaster or another class, I would have had a neutral one. So looking at this screen, we've got some stats here. Hopefully you'll be able to see my mouse if I use it, but the strength, the agility, the int, those are just our battle stats, physical damage, defenses, and magical damage. Charisma won't play too much. I need to keep that up so that I can get some characters, but my lord will never change class, so that doesn't matter. Alignment as well dictates how well you fight during the day, how well you fight during the night, and certain class upgrades. Ooh, man, I used to know this off the top of my head, but I'm genuinely not sure at this point if I need alignment to recruit specific characters or not. I'm pretty sure all characters are just tied to reputation, which I will show you in just a moment. So going into the screen, it's going to scroll pretty fast because I have my speed turned up. Feel free to slow it down if you want to read the story, or even better, play this game for yourself. It's not super long, especially with speed up options because of how passive the play is. Basically, you tell your units to do stuff, and they do it. You don't control when they attack or the damage that they do. My fighters are always going to use 2 sword attacks because, well, let's move that over here, because it says here, F sword 2, B sword 1. In the front row, they will use a sword attack twice. In the back row, they will use a sword attack once. So of course, they're going to want to be in the front. My wizard can do a staff bonk in the front row twice, or use a magic attack in the back row twice. You'll see down here plains type. Most human characters have a plains type. That means they move well over grassland, but they'll slow when you move them over water or over mountains. My leader, Death Cloud in the front row twice. Phantom, which is an attack all. Both the very evil and the very good lords have attack alls that they use in the back row. So that's what he does. So he's always going to want to stay in the back row. Also, I believe if he dies, then the game ends. So we'll definitely want to protect him. So anyway, this is the third screen. The first screen was the world map. The second screen was... oh, I can't figure out how... there it is. The second screen was the edit screen. This is going to get a little more populated later, but for now we only have that one unit. Third screen is the in-battle map screen. I need to watch out for that. That loud clicking noise was exactly what caused me to lose my first recording. So I picked my unit. I told him to move. He's going to walk up here. I sent him up here because I know there's a hidden town. And we'll get our first other unit here. This game was originally made for the Super Nintendo, but it was re-released for the PlayStation 1. And it just has a lot better quality of life upgrades. I found this hidden town of Zeltania. When I liberate it, I have the option to draw a card. I pulled a moon card, which will have no impact because all the moon card does is it sets the current map to exactly midnight, which is what time it is right now. So, do I get to keep or will I keep the card? Yes, because you can use those in battle, and I'll show their effects in a minute. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry, we found our first character. His name is Lance. He's a knight of the Royal Zenobian Army, and he's asking us to join, or asking if he can join us. Talking is hard sometimes, guys. He pledges to fight and die until the Zenobian Empire is crushed and peace is returned. He doesn't necessarily say benevolent peace, just peace. So, lands, we're going to dispatch him, and you know what, come down here, because anytime you see big open patches of land like this, there's usually going to be either a hidden city or a hidden treasure. I know that this is a hidden treasure. Oh, actually, he's got 2 wizards with him, and lands himself, he's slightly on the good side, his alignment of 65, but not super duper high, so he's not necessarily like the paladin. One of the things the PlayStation version lets you do, though, is actually set markers, so I can send lands down there, and then I can have him come up and liberate this temple, which is kind of like a town, but it doesn't have markets or give you money. It lets you provide your characters. Liberating town, every time the sun switches over to noon, or this clock basically reaches the very tippity top, all towns you've liberated will give you money. Up here's our money. Right now we have 27,590. It costs money per day to deploy units. That gets subtracted, but all of the towns that you liberate will give you money. The other thing on this, while we're up here, is this bar right here is called our reputation meter. And that is independent of how good or evil our main character is. That's how the general populace views our army. So right now it's right in the midline because we're new. People don't know what to make of us yet. And that changes. Found buried treasure. It's a malachite sword, which I will go ahead and sorry, I want to see. I might not even equip that on anyone. So we've liberated Descania. We'll get to again draw a card. And okay, so devil cards, death cards, fortune cards, they they affect your reputation. So if you notice, my reputation meter is actually going to go down when I hit this button. Boo. Maybe visibly, maybe not. But yes, of course we will keep it. And now she's just going to explain that we get tarot cards and information from towns, and that towns will give us money. Simplest way to explain this is, Lance is being slow, so I'll just liberate this guy. Basically, you want good aligned units, angels, white dragon, or holy dragons, paladins, to liberate towns specifically because liberating with evil units has a tendency to plummet your reputation meter, and the reputation meter limits which characters you can get, which limits how good of an ending you get. Unless you're going for the evil ending, in which case your good ending is the evil ending. Shall we draw a card? Sure. So the Magician card's different. It's not going to affect our reputation meter. It's going to raise everyone in my unit lead. My opinion leader, Fade's unit, is going to have an intelligence increase of 1. Yay! Which is good because I think he does damage based on his int. So does my wizard. And now it's saying time's always flowing. So lands is still being slow. So we'll just go ahead and march Fade over to fight. Oh my goodness. Sorry, it defaults to yes. So wait, I'm gonna wait. No, don't repeat that. I'm gonna just march Fade over. I gotta be very careful. I don't want to make too much clicking noises with my controller. Okay, go and attack. And it seems we have prepared for battle ahead. Now we must do. Warren basically won't fight you until you find lands. So now this is the 4th screen of the game coming up, the combat screen, where we don't have many options. Again, our characters will attack based on their position. What we can do is we can retreat, we can run away, we can turn off our battle animations. I have my speed cranked way up because this game is a little bit slow. So if you see me like blasting past options I'm looking for. That's why. The biggest things we can do is battle commands. Best is the command that says just find whoever you'll do the most damage to and do that. Strong says find the enemy that has the biggest hit points that you can attack and attack them. Leader says do everything you can to attack the leader. If there's an enemy in front of the leader, attack that person so you can get to the leader. And weak is like the opposite of strong. Strong says find the highest hit points. Weak says find the lowest hit points. So we'll keep it on best. And then our other option that we have is tarot cards, which we've got these from Warren's reading at the beginning, and then we'll get one from Liberating Towns. Eventually you can buy them an item called a Joker Tarot, which will give you a random tarot card. And they have various options, like the Moon card flips around anyone in the front row of your enemy's squad. Anyone in the front row will go to the back row will go into the front row. Fool makes everyone except the leader of the unit run away. Star increases your agility. We've got two devils, so I'm gonna devil real quick. And now you'll see there goes my leader's phantom attack. Warren's going to attack my leader. Wizards are weak to physical attacks. Tornado's a physical attack, so that's why my wizard and Warren both chose to use Tornado there. Because we're not weak to any element. Okay, and now we've liberated Volzak. I don't have sound turned on for this recording just because I want to make sure that it's not overpowering. I'm still learning how recording and editing software works. So I'll just add in some sound later. If you're wondering, Borf up there has 5 stages beaten. That's that little sword 5. And Borf is what my dog does instead of bark. So now that we've beaten that first stage, we have another stage out in the world we can go to, the Sharam Border District. But first, since we recruited Warren, we now have a full army. And this is the crux of the gameplay. We've got 1 cleric, we've got 2, 3 clerics. That's not bad. 4 clerics. Ooh, that's pretty good for being an evil character. Your army kind of lives and dies by clerics. Each unit can have 5 spaces occupied. What I mean is humans in general take 1 space. So since this unit is made up of humans, it can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across 5 units. Big units though count as 2 characters. So down here with Willie, he takes up 1 spot. His giant takes up 2 spots, so that's 3, and then this hellhound takes up another spot, or another 2 spots, so that's 5. So if we didn't have one of those, then we could put 2 humans in there, but in general, large units aren't really good in this game, or really in Ogre Battle either. If you've played this game, you might have that sense of nostalgia of, oh yeah, this game really doesn't know how to make units, so it'll almost always give you just flaming hot garbage builds, like this witch behind a golem. Witches stop enemies from moving. Golems don't do much damage, they're there to tank. And then it's got 2 clerics, so basically this unit will never do anything other than annoy the player when they inevitably run into this build. So we're just going to get rid of that so that I can get those clerics. We're going to... We don't need large units. I'm just showing real quick how the unit building system works. We don't have many beastmen, oddly. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to remove one of my fighters. I'm going to add a cleric, papaya, plum, or apple. Do we have all fruits? No, Jody. You had to be the combo. Get in the party, Jody. And then we're going to rearrange things. We want our opinion leader in the back. We want our cleric in the back because she'll heal in the back, but she can be helpful to put in the front if you're fighting an undead enemy. Her attacks do holy damage, but she'll also just be able to kill all of them in the back with her heal anyway. So, and then we'll put these guys in front right here to block the rest. So, is that good? Yeah, sure. Other units are mostly usable, and I don't want to get bogged down in building an army. I guess one last thing is, if we want to start a new unit, we can come over here to add a character. We will add Papaya. We will give her a wizard friend. And we will give her a... Valkyrie are basically the high alignment female units. In the back row they use lightning. In the front row they use physical. They are one of the few units that can go really in either position. And then we'll put some fighters in the front just to block for them. Oh, nope, that wasn't a fighter. And they're Heimer. Okay, and then let's go investigate Chapter 2. The man who governs the borders is a warrior named Usar. Basically, he is little more than a bandit and is blocking our way into Zygania. So, now that we have a full army, we can dispatch all of our troops. We have this deploy unit. I'm going to actually just march my dude all the way up here. Nope. And then I'm going to... The two ways that you lose are your opinion leader dying or your home base being taken over. So I'm just releasing some people to guard our base, and we'll send a cross up here to liberate this town specifically because there's something special about that. Normally you'd want to be a little bit more thorough on this, but we're just going for speed at this point. And Eclair, you know what? Go guard this temple. And then we just let things happen. We liberated Valna. We'll get to draw a card. It's the Hangman card, which reduces our strength, but only for the unit that pulled it. And what's special about this town is that it has a shop. So, when I click on a character, that's here, I have this option to buy item. I can buy a cure potion that restores 50 hit points to one unit, a cure stone that restores 100, a dinner bell which I believe summons everyone or summons a unit back to the headquarters. Yeah, sends one unit back to the rebel base. Ethereal Flute is just a res. If a character dies, you can use that and it'll bring them back to life. And Mass Summons sends everyone to wherever my opinion leader fate is currently at. I'm just going to buy a bunch of cures. And nope. And stop. Okay. There's the enemy units. We're gold, they're silver. And we pulled a magician, so intelligence up. So now, since she's sitting on the temple, if an enemy gets close to her, she will fight inside the temple walls, which gives her a small defensive boost, and also, after combat, she'll regenerate her hit points. If you're just out traveling, then your hit points stay where they're at after battle, until you get to a town to heal. We found an item. We found the Flame Flare, which, if I had to guess, is a weapon. I don't want to get bogged into the details. I just want to introduce the game to anyone that's curious about it, that's never heard about it, because it is a pretty interesting piece of legacy, especially if you're a fan of SRPGs, since it's what led to Final Fantasy Tactics. It led to Tactics Ogre, which led to Final Fantasy Tactics. SRPGs existed before that. You've got your Fire Emblems that have been around since the NES, but they didn't quite have that level of granularity that Tactics Ogre and Final Fantasy Tactics then brought to forefront. We got the Hierophant card, which means our alignment goes up. Your reputation meter has almost no impact from your opinion leader's alignment. It doesn't matter how evil you yourself are. Reputation meter is just, do the people think you're going to be a good leader? So having alignment go up is great. Hierophant as a tarot kinda isn't useful, but it has uses, but it's not phenomenal. And now it's saying that if your unit dies, then you lose control of it, and it will just march all survivors back to your headquarters until you can raise that leader again. High alignment causes you to fight better during the day. Low alignment causes you to fight better at night. And no, again, we don't need to quite get into that level of granularity. Since all of the enemies out of the way, we're just going to take our dude and just march him right up here. Sneaky, sneaky. How dare you rebel against the Empire? It's not too late. Bow down before the Empire now. What do you think, guys? Yes or no? So keep your eye on the reputation meter up here. Because, yeah, we'll bow down. Why not? Did you really think I would fall for that? Prepare yourself. Oof, there goes that hit to that rep meter. So, basically, I was proving that I was cowardly and not fit to lead as much, so everyone's like, ooh, maybe we don't like this guy. Since this is probably our last thing we're doing with this video, let's draw off some cards. So the Fool makes everyone but the leader run away. Magician just does fire damage to everybody. You want to be careful with tarots if you're not playing with your leader unit, because any kills that happen with tarot cards, that XP goes to your opinion leader rather than the unit that's actually doing the fighting. In this case, that doesn't matter because we're fighting with the opinion leader. But be careful, because that can make your unit, your opinion leader, really overleveled, and then people don't like that. And we won. Just that simple. We've got a lot of towns that we could have liberated, but we didn't need to. And with that, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up. After you're done, you get money. Sorry, I apologize for leaving my mouse cursor in the middle of the screen for that long. Any temporary units become permanent units after that point. And yeah, again, there's a lot running under the hood of this game, but the game itself is pretty simple. Because again, you saw literally everything will happen on one of those 4 screens that we just talked about. Beyond that, it's up to you. This is, if you've ever played a tabletop game like Warhammer, it's really close to that, and I kind of love how unique it is. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Like always, I might not know you, but I do love you. Be safe. Do good things. Talk to you later.